onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
Yes.
Good. Okay, we'll just loosen a little bit the body. And just play a little bit with kind of one leg, just a few inside. Just mix between the two, both one and the other. Just play with kind of slight side movements. Very small. Same, just playing front and back. So either go forward, a little bit of splitting. Very small movements. Just like playing with a rotation. The shoulders, hips go together. And just back into the center. The toes into the ground. And just come down with the heels. Just open out fingers each time. Playing with the position of the arms a little bit. Settling the weight down into the heels. Keep that pulse going through the body. Working the hands. Good, just slowing the body down, rolling out the wrists. Change in direction. Keep the fingers in contact, loosen the contact with the palm. Roll the forearms over. Either way. And then working with really just the fingers, working with a wave into the body. Take it the other way, it's a bit tricky. bring the shoulders out, rolling out the arms, the elbows. And change direction. Nice and light, just for the arms, just bringing the arms out to the back, just rolling them down as far as you can, and back to the top. Just imagine kind of touching a wall behind you, pressing the hands in, hands down, hands at the top, hands at the bottom. Good, just loosen them out to the side. Great, and just starting nice, small, isolating the shoulder. Now to bring the elbows, opening the chest into the movement. So the whole spine through the movement as well. Releasing forwards, keep that big motion. Spine. Keep rolling, separating the shoulders out to the back. Nice. Good. Okay, just rotating the head to the side. Looking over the shoulder. Take it into the upper body, chest, bring the elbows into it. So to release the arms out, bring the hips into the motion. Releasing the knees. Great, a big rotation to the hip. Oops. Right, changing direction. Good. Bring the knees together. Gentle bending of the knees. Good. Just find that point where the kneecap's loose. Again, just massaging into the knee, the upper thigh, or the just small circles working with the thumb fingers. Using the palm and the fingers nice and loose. Great, and take it to circles. And change direction. Lengthen the back. Release them. Just step out, shoulder, hip width with the body, and just continue that circle. Bring them inside. And nice contact with the feet. We work the ankle as well, so the whole hip, knee, ankle. That's nice and flexible. And stretching the back a little bit. And change the direction. Inside to outside. Just stretching back gently. Just coming up onto the ball of the foot, sinking down. Make it as far as comfortable. Yeah, coming back gently. Stretching back, pull the toes up towards the face. Reset, just stretching out the toes to the back and then rolling them. Direction. And the ground circling. And release the knee as well. Imagine it's basically a kind of object that you're kind of rolling the foot around. Shake out the toes. And then just think about spreading the toes out, spreading them away. And then pointing, curling them down. That way. Spread them out. Curl them down. Spread them out. And them down. pressing down the heel. Yeah, and reaching for the toes if you can. Great. Take it to the other side. Flex the foot, flex the toes, and then roll in one direction. The other way. Around, releasing the knee. Change. Spreading the toes away from each other. You've got pulling the big toe and the little toe apart. And curling down. Spreading them out. And curling. Almost spread them out. Yeah. Pointing. Great. Press the heel down. Reach the toe. Loosen up the legs a little bit. Pick up the toes and ankle. Okay, good. We'll do some exercises from the foundation training, and we'll just start with the kind of decompressive posture. So I don't know if we've done these before. It's a bit of a strange position to start with. So it's like a closed leg position. So it looks like in this case like you're really kind of pulling the toes inside, like you're kind of walking like this. But the key thing is not really the position of the feet, but the sense that you're closing the thighs here. So it's the idea of this is like you're wrapping the legs towards each other. So just find a kind of short leg position. You can touch the toes kind of lightly with this, but really feel that you're kind of rolling that movement from the hip. So the tendency is to do that from the ankle and the knee, but just feel that you're kind of wrapping the thighs inside. So it's quite a strange position, but I'm sure from that position there. Let's see that. So the toes gently touching, heels a little bit wedged to the back, and then just feel that you're wrapping the legs inside each other. Now just take a kind of long position with the body, with the upper body, the torso. Think here about the kind of ears and the clavicle and the collarbone, basically lengthening it up, and the collarbone, the clavicle really pointing up towards the ceiling, and at the same time lengthening up through the neck. And we're just a few kind of expansive breaths here, so nice deep in and a full kind of expansive breath. So you can use these kind of measuring sticks if you want, and these are really just to show you're kind of basically decompressing the spine here and lengthening up from the ribs to the hips here. And the key thing, we've done this before, is like as you breathe out, try and feel that you actually maintain that length. So you don't want to kind of go back into collapsing as you breathe out. So as you're doing the breath now, basically like as long as you can in, 5-6 seconds in, 5-6 seconds out, keep that feeling of wrapping here and basically pressing the thighs together as you do it. So gently touching the toes, wrapping the legs inside, and maintain that as you do the breath. Okay. So we just do that nice and slow. Do about 3 deep breaths. And just really feel open, expand up. And as you breathe out, maintain the length and maintain that tensioning in the legs as well. Think about the breath being really expansive to the back, as if you're kind of pressing the ribs towards the back and opening out the sides as well. And in this case, also the elbows are active. So if you're using the hands or using the arms in any way, think about kind of the elbows help to expand and open the chest as well. So think of the breath in all directions, up, down, out, to the sides and to the front also. Just a few, just one more kind of deep breath there. That's nice, perfect, good. Okay, And then from that position, legs wrap, keep that tension in the legs, just release the hip, come into that kind of long wing position with the arms. Pulling the arms apart. Now the tendency here, think about the clavicle, basically pointing up as you do it. So the tendency is to do this. That's my tendency also with these exercises because I've got a really mobile lower back. So my tendency to pull the chest out. Think rather lengthening the back and pushing the kind of clavicle up, the collarbones up. So opening that side position. Pull the hips back as if you're kind of sitting the hips down a little bit. And just take a few deep, expansive breaths here. Especially during this position, think about the back and the sides, the rib cage. And again, maintaining it as you breathe out. Try and keep again that tension in the legs, wrapping them together, and also really full contact with both feet. So the big toe, the base of the little toe, and the heel, obviously, of both feet, really pressing into the ground with it. One more deep breath. This time, as you breathe out, hinge the hips a little bit deeper without releasing the knees forward, and just reach forward with the hands. You come into that sphere of tension in front of the body, around about the height of the heart. You can keep that wrapping of the legs towards each other, keep the contact as well, and keep that length from the shoulder to the ears, all the way from the back of the neck. Now, as you do the breaths now, as you keep that breath pattern going deep in, deep out, just think about gently pulling the hips and the hands apart. You probably feel kind of comfortable, usually on the out breath, to kind of release it a bit more. Come into a little bit more tension. It's really gradual. Pulling the body into that position. So as you're doing it, also imagine there's two things happening. There's like the body pulling itself apart, but imagine also at the same time someone's kind of pressing you in to it as well. So imagine you also, the body's kind of resisting a pressure from pulling itself apart, but also think about someone trying to compress you as well. So you're doing two things in this case. So just bring that here. And then the last breath out here, as you do it, release the arms up without moving the hips. So just release the arms up to the top. Just play with the position of the hands. You can do this in that sphere of tension. You can just release the hands up with it. The key thing is, again, keeping that kind of length through the spine, again, through the neck, letting the hips drop back, keeping the knees back at the heel, and again, keeping that tension in the lower legs as much as you can. Reach up, lengthen. Nice deep breath in. And here, just release the spine down, release the arms. And as you get to the bottom, just really release the spine out. So release and flex the spine. And then here, just drawing back onto the shin bar. Again, feel you've got it, that pressure gently wrapping the legs together. Slowly pressing into the feet to draw the chest up. And just one more, just opening out to the back again. Just feeling that nice, long, expanded position. And just slowly release it. Shake out the legs a little bit. Issue the hips, loosen them out. Good. And we'll just do two more positions. One's a lunge and one's this like deep gorilla squat kind of position. So first, just go into a lunge. So you want to kind of not too wide position, feet wedged on railway tracks basically, so that the back foot is this way. If you can, also we'll go to this position where you start to kind of wrap the legs inside each other. So again, it looks like you're kind of going to this position, but it's about basically pressing the legs together and slightly wrapping the legs with a feeling like you're going to kind of press the legs together, like I'm kind of trying to crush the legs together in a sense, but with space now. So you're in this position from here. Okay, first thing again, just a few deep breaths here, settling. The key with this, all these lunges is again that kind of knee position, not letting the knee go forward with this one. So you're keeping the knee back of the heel. Just a few deep expansive breaths, lengthening up, full expansive breath, 360. If you're doing this position also, but feel that you activate the elbows as well. Pulling the neck long, lengthening out to the sides. And just feel the contact as you do this with the ground, so full contact in the front foot. And obviously just in the ball and the toes in the back foot. And then just opening up the, good, lengthening up through the back. Pulling the arms out wide. Fill the arms up as you breathe in. And as you do this really subtle movement, but think about just pulling the hips up slightly. So you don't want the hips kind of drop down. Let the hips kind of open up and pull up a little bit. It needs a little bit of pressure from the back foot probably. Coming out. And then without moving the hips in this one, just bringing the arms forward. So just reaching them out. Forward, nice long. Spine, pressure out. And then here, just moving from the back hip, so it's a movement of the hip here, bit, and just that movement here. So you're going to start to release and lock the hip. And the front one's going to fold, and the back hip's going to kind of press towards that front leg. Gentle kind of rotation of the backhand. Nice deep breath in as you get into the position. So much more weight now loaded on the front leg. Nice deep breath in. Pulling the body back to center. Relaxing the arms. We'll just do the same on the other side. So you just find that similar distance with the legs. Settle into the legs a little bit. Make sure the knees back, the heel. And just releasing out a couple of deep breaths, just lengthen up. Pulling the hips up, chest up. Lengthening through the spine, lengthening out to the sides of the elbows, pulling the neck long, deep in, long breath out. And come into this wide position, you can just lift the hips up a little bit more, pull the body long, contact with the ground. Reaching the arms forward, just keep the hips where they are, lengthening out. Perfect. Nice deep breath in. And as you release it from the hip, back hip, just start to roll into the body that way. Shifting more weight into the front foot without releasing the knee. So that's it. Good. Just hold it for a couple of deep breaths. If you feel comfortable with it, just reach out a little bit more with the hands. Great. And gently pull yourself back to center. Release the arms. Release out the hips a little bit. This is a kind of nice, easy one. We'll go into this kind of gorilla pose. So the kind of setup similar to the one we did before with the legs wrapped. So we basically start with that kind of family position coming up along, and then we're going to take it to the ground. So the steps with this. Start in this case, we'll do it with the legs kind of pointing out in this one, or the feet pointing out. And it's not so much that the feet pointing out, it's that if you think about the edge of the foot, just where the toes are, that position's kind of parallel if you were to measure it. So it's that feeling that there's going to end up with the toes a little bit pointing out. Give it a little bit wider in this case. And then again, just lengthen up through the spine. Settle the knees back a little bit. Just pull the spine up long. Again, a couple of deep breaths in. You can use the measuring stick, so you can just kind of open up, expand. That's it. And just feel good, solid contact with the ground. We'll do one thing to do here while we're kind of in a comfortable position. Think about anchoring the feet. You can do this two ways, by pressing the legs in, like you're trying to bring the floor together, or you can press them out that way, like you're trying to press the feet apart without moving the feet. So you just play with basically pressing the ground in, anchoring in, and anchoring the feet out that way. And we'll play a little bit with this position when we go into the lower position. So just start with the hip hinge, just coming out wide. Just open this position a little bit. There. Coming out long, get that wide arm position. Release the knees, pull the hips back. We're going to reach a bit further than we did before, so really pull the hips back now. Keep the legs, keep the knees back again. That spirit tension. Again, think about the clavicles and the ears, the earlobes. Basically, in this case, they're going up towards the ceiling this way. We don't feel that they're, that position or also that position. I kind of hyperextend the back. So lengthening. Think about pulling the hands, hips apart. And again, just play with that kind of tension in the legs, that kind of pressing the ground apart, pulling it together. Just see what kind of that tension does to the legs as well. So just experiment with those. One anchor or play with both. Okay, next deep breath in, you're going to hinge the hips back a little bit more, and you're going to bring yourself into a low kind of sphere of tension, so the hands just floating off the ground. Deep with the hips now. Pull them long, and again, lengthening it through the spine. So you're just floating the hands off the ground. Hold a couple of deep breaths. One more deep breath. Okay, pull the hips back a little bit more. You're going to reach the fingertips just into the ground. So open up the hands now. So no real pressure, no real weight in the hands, just the fingertips just kind of resting on the ground. All the weight's basically in the body. That position. And then we've done this before. This is opening up the palm, keeping the back long, and don't shrug the shoulder up to do it. Basically, roll the hand up. Reach up as high as you can. Just hold it. One deep breath. Release it down. Just settle the hands back down. Just settle the feet. Find that anchor again. So you're going to either pull the feet apart or press them together, whichever feels more solid in the ground. And then we'll go to the hand. Reaching palm up. Raising as high as you can. Raise, 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 raise. Nice deep breath. And release it slowly down. And just find the hands in the ground. You're going to reach into the shin bone. Really lengthen it through the back as much as you can. Press the feet. You've got a good contact with the ground again. Press the feet. Raise the chest up. All the way up to the top. There. Good. And we'll just loosen off the spine. So we go side to side. Good. Good. Use that same motion. So think about slightly separating the hip and the head. So it's got a kind of pull to it as well as a kind of loosening. And then keeping that motion, just play with a slight rotation or circle with the head. So the head's kind of leading it. And again, keep that finger as if you're kind of rolling, separating the spine and the head. So just keeping that length as we go. Good. And then we'll take it into kind of wave. So again, leg from the head. Just roll, and you can take this as deep as you like. And roll to the spine. That's it. Roll to the spine. And if you're doing one way, you can also do the other way. So roll that. Roll that. Good. And the last few, just play with basically head directed motion. You just take it anywhere. So you can do it in a wave with the spine. You can do it here. Just basically feel you're using the eyes. anchoring in the hips and the legs. Just roll it around a little bit. There we go. Good. Okay. Great. Okay, and we'll just loosen out the rest of the bit. Here. Move it up and down. Side to side. Rolling the arms. So probably a little bit. Great. Okay, let's do some Aikido. We will do Joe today. Thanks, Bernie. Great.
See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, we'll just start with a little bit of ski work. So just mixing in both sides. But again, all that foundation works really great for anchoring the lower body, lengthening up through the spine, perfect stuff for Joe work. So, and keeping the arms basically open, extended, and basically being able to be functional. So just play with the ski, basically twisting one side, and just play with, change the angle slightly, change the feet, and the ground this way. So just take your time, Kamai, settle, release, point Kamai, settle, into the ski, release up. Settle, release up, change direction. Settle, release up. Settle. Okay, great. So think about this when you do the release part of it. Don't feel that you release the lower body too much. So although the lower body does release, what you want to avoid is I release the arms, the upper body, the lower body releases with it. So end it with like I'm grounded and then I find again. And then I come out of the ground. So think of the release basically just releasing the arms. So it's the hips releasing, but think of the legs basically always stay heavy. So you're basically transitioning. You've got one leg in the ground, right? There. So one leg in the ground. Keep all the weight there. So as you transition, keep the weight down. So it comes back to that 𝘱𝘰𝘯𝘦𝘴 saying all the time. Weight underneath all the time. So in this case, basically, keep the legs strong. So as you release the arms, allow the legs to basically stay full.
Morning.
Hey, Sven. Good morning. So, just doing a little bit of Joe work, just working with the ski. Nice grounded movement. In and out of the ski. So also, we'll make it even more obvious. Think about kind of pulling yourself back into this position. So every so often, just come back to the Joe basically on the left side and that sense of here. You've actually got that same position here, so it's not really kind of light in the legs. You've got that kind of heaviness in the legs. And then again, just enter into it here. So you've got to kind of lengthen. you've got a heaviness in the lower body all the time. So change, do a few, and then feel that you can sometimes just pull yourself back into this kind of nice and neutral position. Neutral in the sense that I'm still practicing all those same things. So like dense in the lower body, relaxed in the upper body, in the arms. So, and lengthening through the spine all the time. So you're actually all the time practicing that same kind of skill set. Just allow yourself to. Just makes the contrast really clear. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So. Very nice. Good. So we'll just start to bring in the Jodan Gaishi. So the basically would be the fifth Saburi, but I'm just playing in this case left and right side with a strike. Left side ski, right side strike. Again, just really move around the space as well. So as you find the release here, just play with coming into Kamai, and again keep that heaviness with that release into another direction. And then again, what we're doing yesterday or this week, that sense of training your attention forward, find a connecting point, intention, or your attention, and go to it. Find a new one, keep that heaviness. Release it. And if you want, every so often you can come back into Kamai, just do nothing, relax, and go again. Oh, that's the wrong side. Yeah. One. The other way. Okay, good. So with that feeling, take this now into a 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝘦, and also now because we go to a 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝘦, you can basically take this to both sides. So you can work left side ski, right side 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝘦, right side ski, left side 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝘦, or in your quiz, but in this case it's pretty much the same motion. So you've got the ski, release, 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝘦, find a new direction, ski, and 𝘰𝘰𝘠𝘦, change direction, ski. Different direction. Go and come back. Good. Okay, so we'll take some more complex practice, basically looking at 19 and 20 of the 𝘗𝘰𝘪𝘏. I'm using a book to this, but just because I'm receiving. So these are all based on rotation works, right? So the nagari is this idea of flowing, right? To flow through. Now all that again requires basically that the lower body is basically weighted down. So we know that we've done this a lot. So if I rotate and the lower body's out of the ground, I can't really function through the rotation. So we'll just focus on 19 to start. So you've got the 𝘰𝘰𝘦𝘴. You come back with the step, raise the sort of, you go now into your 𝘱𝘰𝘠𝘦𝘴, so you're striking on the right foot, release to the back, release the hand, come into that block position, and then release again onto the right side, you're coming. And then just come back into 𝑘𝑰𝑦, find another direction for the movement, we'll stick to the same. Back, striking, release and block, and release again into the strike. Back. Good. That's it.
Hang on a sec. I need to go, Michael. I'll see you.
Hey, Michael. Adrian. See you soon. So two ways to make this flowing. You can obviously flow through the strike into the block, or you can flow from the block into the strike and then put it together. This is basically how we work it. So we'll do the first one in this case. So you're going to flow off the first strike straight away into the block. So we keep the same handwork in a sense. So you come back, you go into the strike, you flow through straight into the block, and then release into the cut. Back into the cut, into the rotation. Give yourself a pause at the top, pause at the block, pause at the top here, pause at the block. Making that first motion, first rotation really flexible. Yeah. Oh, done. Okay. So there's tons of examples where like this the 𝘱𝘪𝘀 series have a really great logic to them, and they're very like intuitively intelligent in a sense. They're just a series of movements. So, but they also practice skills along the way as you go. So the last two in a way like the more complicated one, apart from the Hassa, that's quite complicated. But think about with this, when you do this, we're doing something we don't normally do in terms of striking. So we normally kind of strike, finish, and then move with it. But what you're doing in this case is you're actually following through with the strike. So the strike is going through and then I'm rotating into it this way. So there's no sense that I'm actually stopping the strike and then restarting the movement. So whether you do this in the 𝘱𝘪𝘀, we do it in 11, 12, 13 all the time, especially 11, 12. So if you think about these motions where I go through and I basically strike through this way. So 11 and 12 basically deal with this idea of like a fluid motion through that way. Now in like 19, you're putting that skill, think about putting that skill to into this. You're just applying it somewhere else with it in this case. So think about this kind of motion as you do it. And if you're kind of not sure, go to 12 in this case, which is like that sense of going through with it. So I'm actually striking and following through with it. So we're used to it as sort of like bam, bam, finishing and go somewhere else, but this has a little bit of a different quality, which you're kind of rolling through the strike or following through the strike. Just play that a little bit. Yeah, okay. And so also the way we teach it is also in a way as a kind of logic to it. So if I try and start this move with the hands on the weapon, it usually goes like this, like that. So the arms do this kind of strange thing to do. So the release of this arm is also to free the shoulders up. So although obviously it's a block position, it's a functional block position. Think about this as you do this. I really want the shoulder to be, or the arms to be free in that motion. So the skill in this one in terms of handwork is like this, that goes, this releases. This puts me in a really strange position, and then I'm doing this, kind of twisting the body out. So think as you go, it's like this soft motion of the arm. So in this case, coming into the block fully really allows you to release the structure through it, release through it that way. Otherwise, I get used to that kind of position, which is like a non-functional position in a sense. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Nice. Yeah, we go. Good. Great. Great. And then try the one where you've got the hands. So the last minute or so, just play with this idea. So you keep the hands where they are in the weapon, but I really release them. So that hand's really going to, the left hand is really going to release through that motion. So I don't go into the block position now, but I just roll through it and then I find the second strike. So this is making the movement fluid now. From the strike, release it into the second one. That way. So you're going to strike, follow through, roll into the next. Super flexible movement. Yeah, good. That's it. Nice. Whoosh. Good. Okay, last 30 seconds. Just do it slowly as you can. Basically, keep in motion. So just kind of slow it down as you do it. So slowly up. Feel that kind of pull up to the top. Slowly in. Especially now the rotation is going to be much more tricky, slower. Roll, release it. Wow. Yeah, good. 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 Just find one nice slow one and then we'll finish. One nice slow. Go. Slow. Yeah. Good. Okay, perfect. We'll start. That's still good. Good. Good, good, good. Okay, great. Let's start. Great. どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。Thank
Good.
you.